I have to be honest with you, the quality control that's going on over Apple TV, chef's kiss. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. First two episodes, part one and part two of Masters of Air, have dropped on Apple TV. Masters of Air is a long-standing project from Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks that is sort of a companion piece to Band of Brothers and Pacific. One was of land, one was of sea. Now we're going of air to show a group of men and during the World War II, the Nazi regime of World War II, who are a part of a 100th bomb group in the 8th Air Force, who are put on these missions that, unfortunately, history has shown they more than 70% of the people that are in this group fall to a fatality. And it just shows the trials and tribulations they have to go through to get to that point. These first part one and part two are directed by Cary Fukunaga, who those of you may know did Beast of Donation and is a creator of the first season of True Detective, which we all have labeled as the best season of True Detective. Show stars Austin Butler, Callum Turner, and Barry Keoghan. Right off Licking the Bathtubs and Saltburn, as three of the majors in the, well, one's a lieutenant, but two of the majors in this fleet of World War II Air Force officers who are doing what they can to keep their team, their members, their folks alive while serving the mission of the country. It's interesting with these war pictures, these war shows, how for me, sometimes it can be kind of difficult to latch on to characters because, especially when you're dealing with World War II, where all the characters are generically looking the exact same, they have a style. It's typically white males with some type of mustache, some type of facial hair. There's nothing really that adds to them. Where I think this show does a pretty good job out the gate of getting me to at least care about two, maybe two or three of them. Even though Austin Butler is the lead as Buck, Major Gale, I think his counterpart, Bucky, played by Callum Turner, is the one that sort of I gravitate towards the most. Maybe because he's got demons. Austin Butler is playing the straight man. He's the straight major, and they are best friends, but he's the one that doesn't drink, doesn't gamble, doesn't even watch or bet on sports. Whereas John Egan, Bucky, is all about all of those things. He's a drinker, he's a womanizer, he sings, he enjoys life, but they are each other's yin and yang. While he's the level-headed one, and they sort of need each other to sort of counterbalance. They're equal weights of each other. It's sort of showing them and how they are approaching this war and the loss of so many people that they both care about, and going about the missions that the U.S. is asking them to do without actually sacrificing and going through more and more people. This group through history is known as the Bloody 100, and so you see a lot of casualties, and you see it from start to finish. I think that's a part of what this is trying to show you, is that the men and women here put their lives on the line to do these incredible missions, and sometimes maybe not with the best forethought in the mind. We have a moment in this, and I won't go into spoilers. For those of you who are first time watching my reviews and my recaps, the first two of any series, I don't get spoilery, but from this point, from part three on, we will. But just from little things of the U.S. doing things differently, you're saying we're going to do our bombing in the day, whereas the British are saying we're going to do it at night, so we can use the darkness as cover. Both things can work, but one's a lot more difficult to do than the other, or so they think. And so we'll see from what we've seen is that in the future episodes, the U.S. is going to try to attempt it. Maybe we should go under the dark, and how does that work for them? In addition to Bucky, Callum Turner's character, the character that I most resonate with is Crosby, Lieutenant Crosby, who is a navigator who has a sickness. He gets air sickness. So anytime that he goes up into the air, he just starts vomiting and gets sickness. Now, he clearly didn't have this all the time. This is not a recurring thing, or he probably wouldn't have passed tests or whatnot to get there. but something is triggering this, and so we see a version of this where he gets there, he's sick, and he kind of messes up the navigation. He puts them where they shouldn't be, almost completely disaster, and messes up the mission. He gets a second chance to sort of prove himself, still sick, but he actually pulls through, and so he helps his team. So it's going to be, and it's sort of just cool to see him interact with the previous navigator who kind of gave him a shot because he got sick, and how they kind of he gets, because he does well in this mission, he is now what Buck and Bucky want as their main navigator going forward. But who knows when that rears its ugly head and kind of does them all in. I am now sort of tied to these folks, sort of, and I want to learn more about them before eventually some of these folks are not long for the life. I have not read the book that this show is based on, and I have not done any homework really to look it up because I kind of just want this to envelop me and take me on this ride uh, to live in it while I know why I'm the most ignorant. The aerial battles in this are stunning. Like, it's fantastic to watch. I do hope that you're not watching this on the phone. Don't watch the show on the phone. Don't watch this. You want to watch this on television. Get some surround sounds if you have it, because it's stunning to watch. And when this show gets violent, it gets violent. It's gory. It doesn't hide the fact that it's war, that you see bloodshed, you see burns, you see missing eyes and fingers and all of that stuff. When it gets violent, it's not grotesque, it's not gratuitous like some horror films, but it is going to let you know that we are in a war, and this isn't ending well for some of these men and women. It doesn't shy away from that, but no, it's stunning. I don't know how much money is spent on this series, but every dollar is up on that frame. We don't quite get much from Barry Keoghan's character yet. I think he gets separated at the end of this episode from the rest of the team, but I think he's on all the posters with Austin, and obviously because they're probably the main, most two recognizable out of all of these. But this cast, um, from the top five, are all solid young acting males in this world, and I think this is going to be one of those shows that we go back to look at. Obviously, we know Austin Butler from Elvis, and Barry from Saltburn, but I feel like Carrie and Anthony, their careers are going to sort of blossom, and so are the other two. It's going to get even bigger, and this is going to sort of be that ground zero. We got to see all of them sort of working together. Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg. This works as a good companion piece. If you haven't watched The Pacific, which is a C, you haven't watched Band of Brothers, you should watch those as well. This is sort of a good companion piece to go with those, and I'm excited to see what the next parts bring weekly. So I will be talking about this episode as it goes along because, yeah, it's got me. Apple TV. I can't quit you. You're the Apple TV is the one network that if they decided to raise their rates, I'm like, cool, that's fair, understand. I'm all right. I'm okay with that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm hooked. What did you guys think about the first two parts of Masters of the Air? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you read the book, go ahead and leave your thoughts. Let me know. Is it staying true to form? Is it veering off a little bit or taking liberties? What do you guys? Does this bringing up the vision that you guys thought the book was bringing? Go ahead and leave your thoughts for those as well. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter, X, at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's kind of on a hiatus right now until start for sequels and reboots and remakes start coming around. But we have a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know where it plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.